worship our King. Come, let us bow at His feet. He has done great things. Majesty, Your grace has found me just as I am. Now we're on to You, to Your words of truth.
Let us take a look at Psalm 95, reading from verses 1 to verse 11. Verse 1, Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before Him with thanksgiving and extol Him with music and song. For the Lord is a great God, the great King above all gods. In His hand are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to Him. The sea is His, for He made it, and His hands formed from dry land. Come, let us bow down in worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For He is our God, and we are the people of His pasture, the flock under His care. Today, if only you would hear His voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in Meribah, as you did that day at Massah in the wilderness, where your ancestors tested me. They tried me, for they had seen what I did. For 40 years I was angry with that generation. I said they are a people whose hearts go astray, and they have not known my ways. So I declare on oath in my anger, they shall never enter my rest. The book of Psalm tells us that worship is not based on emotions. Worship is not based on feelings. Worship is something that we need to understand. Psalm 95 tells us, praise begins with knowing who God is. When the psalmist says, come, let us sing for joy to the Lord, the psalmist invites everyone to worship. There is an element of joy that the psalmist wants us to understand. And this element of joy is not grounded on our emotions. That when you are no longer happy, you cannot sing for joy to the Lord. If you are feeling defeated, you cannot sing for joy to the Lord. But sing for joy to the Lord, the joy element there is not because we are happy. Specifically, Psalm 95 tells us, do you know the Lord? And when you know the Lord, that is more than your reason to rejoice. It is only in knowing God that we rejoice. And to the people listening to the psalmist, inviting them to come and telling them, let us sing for joy to the Lord because He is the rock of our salvation. And to them, the rock of our salvation is a very important phrase. He is not only the rock of our salvation, but He is great King above all. God is supreme in authority. And that is the reason why when we talk about praise, it is not an emotional hype, but it is all about knowing who God is and what He has done in our life. The second point that Psalm 95 tells us, true praise leads us to humble surrender. If we take a look at Psalm 3-5, for the Lord is great God, the great King above all gods. In His hands are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to Him. The sea is His, for He made it, and His hands formed the dry land. Come, let us bow down in worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker, for He is God, and we are the people of His pasture, the flock under His care. This short verse tells us about a contrast, and it tells us where we should be putting ourselves and where we should be putting God. And if we take a look at the book of Psalms, it truly tells us that while God is holding the world in His hand, while God owns everything, yet He is a personal God. He is not far. God is close. We can still come closer to Him. And this talks about the covenant that God has placed. I will be your God and you will be my people. And this teaches us that truly God is a personal God. If we step and recognize Him, if we welcome Him in our life, He is there to take good care of us. Worship now invites everyone to kneel down and worship before Him. God's power is there. God's authority is mentioned. And in verses 6 to 7, it highlights that we are the people of His pasture, the flock under His care. If you know that our God is a shepherd and we are the sheep of His pasture, this allows us to look at our hearts and tell to ourselves, Lord, I surrender. I can only rejoice if I know how to surrender my life to You. Praising, worshiping is not just lifting our hands. It's giving our complete heart to the Lord. The third thing, and the most important thing when we talk about praise, when we talk about worship, surrender is proven by listening and obeying. Verse 7, the last line. Today, if only you would hear His voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in Meribah. Today talks about time. It talks about urgency. God is speaking now. This is a present moment that God calls for an immediate response. Not later, not someday. For worship to completely occur and for worship to completely happen, we've got to listen and obey today. The second thing is the invitation. If only you would hear His voice. God invites His people to listen attentively, not just to hear sounds, but to respond with trust and obedience. And that verse also speaks of warning that says, guard your heart. Do not harden your hearts. The real danger is not silence from God, but resistance within us. How can we expect great and mighty things from God if we do not listen and obey? The Israelites failed to listen and they failed to obey. And therefore, in verse 11, they were not able to enter God's rest. Today really matters. If you hear His voice, do not harden your heart. Today, hear His voice. God desires not only our praise, but our obedience.
And I will run to You, to Your words of truth, not by